Hi, I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. Will my Sakurajima be given a good enough explanation by Sakuta?
We can sure hope so. It better be a good explanation.
Or we're just gonna blow right past it, see a date happening, between Koga and him.
You're bringing up, a really good question that I have going into this episode is, are we going to pick up with a conversation between Mai and Sakuta? Or are we going to go right into the action of what it's like to pretend to be in a relationship?
I could imagine we're in the middle of pretending to be in a relationship. Like, imagine we're walking down the hall at school together and, Mai passes us and it's just like, oh shit, a look. Then we're given a flashback to the explanation and everything happening.
Okay, I like that.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
Sweet.
I know you're most excited about getting that other cat.
I just need an explanation. I need an answer.
Mai also needs an explanation. Isn't that one more important than where this other cat comes from?
Yeah. Maybe the other cat is Shoko.
My adolescent syndrome turned me into a cat. Oh no!
Is the explanation happening?
事情は分かったわ。女子高生。
それだけ？
私が叱るとサクタ喜ぶじゃない。はい、罰を与えない方が罰にならないだし。釈然としない。プリなんて嘘、サクタ嫌いでしょ？
そう、好きなやついないと思うけど。
And you guys aren't dating
釈
now.
然としないの。何を隠してるのよ。
さっき足見て興奮してる。
Not that.
それは知ってるわよ。
The other thing.
いいからさっさと白状しなさい。
楓が不登校になった時と同じこと言ったんですよ。恥ずかしいって。
Starting the episode off with Kaide.
されたことが友達にバレたら、クラスに居場所がなくなるって一人ぼっちだと思われるのは恥ずかしいから嫌だって。
ことを持ち出されたら文句なんて言えない。
Yeah.
I love that.
多めに見てあげる。ただ許すのも今後のためにならないから、相応の誠意を見せなさい。
何をしろと？
それくらい自分で考えなさいよ。
じゃあ。
何？
誠意を。
それは性欲。
じゃあデートは。
明日から1週間ドラマの撮影で鹿児島。そうだ。これあげる。ファッション雑誌の撮影で使った衣装をもらったから。
島に行ってる間、これお前さんの代わりだと思えと。
妹さんによ。年で15歳でしょ。
Aww.
したらちょっとは外に出てみたいって気持ちになるかもしれないし。
Can we, while helping Koga, can we also be helping Kaide
マイ
more?
さんが楓のこと考えてくれてるのが嬉しくて。で呼んできます。
Fetched!
忍者ごっこをしていたわけではありません。
僕は盗み聞きをしてたのかと。ちょうどいい。
こんばんは。こんばんは。
It breaks my heart to see how reluctant she is.
着てみたら？
The look to her brother, the reassurance.
かわいい。こんなの初めてだから恥ずかしいです。
にお礼言わないとな。
ありがとうございます。何？楓もマイさんって呼んでいいですか？私も楓ちゃんって呼ぶね。
Yeah, really, thanks for everything.
ちょっと喋るの久しぶりなんですよ。ずっと引きこもってたから。
アクタがそう素直だといじりがいがない。本気にならなきゃいいけど。
何？
あの1年生のことよ。バイトの後デートなんでしょ？
What if she gets feelings for real?
マイさん一筋なので大丈夫です。
分かってないならいい。
え？
おやすみ。
Like it's not about you?
バスケ部に前沢って先輩いるよな。陽介先輩な。どんな人だ？
そんでもってかなりモテる。
この調子でもっと嫌いになれそうな情報をくれ。
だよそれ。
説明しにくいんだが、いい人だと僕の両親が痛む。
Oh.
Wow.
昨日の部活帰りに今の彼女が全然やらせてくんないから、もう別れるみたいなこと言ってたな。
彼女いるのか？
いるよ、別の学校の3年。あと昔の彼女のこともしょっちゅうボロクソに言っててさ、こうはなりたくないなって思う。
貴重な情報サンキュー。両親を痛めずに済む。
Yeah, now we can... Now it won't haunt us. I like that. Don't like the info, but...
お待たせ。
顔赤いぞ。てか5分遅刻。
しょうがないじゃん。
Dude, you were an hour and 38 minutes late.
ま、かわいいな。
かわいいって。
Aw.
ミニスカートじゃないのは減点だけど。
そうだ。 ID くれるって連絡しようと思ったのに、先輩の ID
スマホも携帯も持ってない。
何それ、どういうこと？一丁わからん。どうやって生きてるの？
スマホがないと人は死ぬのか？
死ぬよ。
いきなりあくびか。
あんまり寝てないの。昨日の2時過ぎまでみんなでグループメッセージ。
Wow, don't want to miss out on anything.
別の面白動画見てたら朝になってた。
さっさと寝ておけよ。
みんな起きてるのに私だけ寝るなんて無理。
Oh, look at the jellies.
先輩目が死んでる。
普段と同じだろ。
飛び込みに挑戦してみましょう。あのペンギンなんか先輩っぽい。
なら、俺はあの元気なペンギン。
後ろからみんなについていってるペンギン。
お尻も大きいしな。
真面目な話。みんなに笑われても平気で。ほんと先輩。
Wow.
Oh, man.
どうした？
中学まで私こんなんじゃなかったの。
これは芋だな。
だから見せたくなかったんじゃん。福岡からこっちに来ることになって、クラスでも目立たないグループにいたし、友達なんかできなくて絶対いじめられると思った。初めてメイクしておしゃれな美容院に行って髪型変えて言葉も特訓して、そしたらこんな風になっちゃった。
She put in so much
気に入って
effort.
ないのかよ。
気に入ってる。すごく好き。
たら何悩んでんだよ、うっとうしい。決まる出しで本当の自分はこんなんじゃないとか思ってるんだろう。うざいわ。
ひどっ。
前がどうだろうと今のその姿が古賀だよ。きっかけはどうあれ古賀はなろうと思って努力してそうなったんだろう。
うん。
で今の自分は気に入ってるんだよな。それなのに本当の自分じゃないとかその方がどうかしてるって。
You're doing yourself a disservice.
悔しい。先輩に言いくるめられたみたい。
知り合い？
クラスメートの米山さん。米山さん。古賀さん、一周回ってありの先輩。
それ本当に浸透してる？
Nickname is crazy.
何か探してるの？私も一緒に探すよ。古賀さんは柏さんのグループだし。
3人で探した方が早いだろう。
先輩もこう言ってるし。今の友達とお揃いにしたやつ。
この辺に落としたのは間違いないのか？
すみません、それもわかりません。
あれじゃないか？
Wow.
あ、待て。
She went for it even though she was gonna get wet. Oh.
Who she is.
Mm-hmm.
You're a part of that friend
Now
group.
she's sick.
風邪ひいたか？
全然平気。
みかんの缶詰。
Yes.
じゃあいらないな。
食べる。なんで私の無茶なお願い聞いてくれたの？
必死に頼んできたからだよ。
私のことほとんど知らないのに。
尻を蹴り合った仲だろ？
もう真面目に聞いて
That's as close as a person can get.
でもあの時古賀はいいやつだと思った。ぶっちゃけ可愛いから
またふざける。
風にしてたかわからない。
Mm.
男なんてそんなもんだ。
先輩は、
風邪なら休めばよかったのに。
みんなの話についていけなくなるもん。
You'll miss out.
その一日が命取りなの。教室のみんなにどう思われてるのか気になってる。
自意識過剰だな、古賀って。
おかしいんだよ。笑い物にされたりしてどうして平気なの？
全人類に好かれるために生きてるわけじゃないし。
私はみんなに好かれたい。てか嫌われたくない。
世界中に嫌われたとしてもその一人が必要としてくれたら生きていける。
作田が私の声を聞きたいんじゃないかと思って電話してあげたの。
まさに今舞さんのこと考えてた。
履いてるんでしょうね。作田が私でそういうことするのは。
パンツだけ履いてます。
つまんない嘘つかないの？それよりそっちはどう？可愛い彼女とのデートは
もうそれなりに。
へえ。
質問なんと答えるのが正解なんですか？
What was the right answer?
今すぐ家を飛び出して鹿児島に会いに来てくれるとか。
全裸で抱きしめればいいんですか？
それは引く。
撮影は楽しいですか？
楽しいわよ。
Futaba.
双葉。
1年生のところじゃない。
ああ、そっちか。
伝言しておくけど。
双葉いるか？悪い、邪魔した。
Like you're interrupting something.
佐川はバカかバカなのか。私に変な気を使うな。国見に気づかれる。
あいつもう気づいてると思うぞ。双葉の気持ちに。
それは
なんか取り込み中みたいだから。
That face?
な、作田。
That guy's oblivious.
相変わらずイケメンなやつだな。結局何だったのかと思ってさ。
今あずさ川の恋人ってことになっている例の1年生が自分の都合のいい未来が出るまでサイコロを振り続け
Convenient to her occurred.
いく状態だからやり直す必要はないというわけ。
本人は自覚な。神里。
ユーマに近づかないでって。
僕が聞いたのは喋んないで。
同じことでしょ。あの物理実験室の女は何？ユーマとどういう関係？よく話してるけど。
なんだよカリカリして。便秘か？
死ね！今すぐ死ね！
He's really good at getting her to like shut up.
Yeah.
食物繊維取れよ。昨日またお前の彼女に絡まれた。
そりゃ災難だったな。
もう僕か彼女かどっちかにしろ。
今晩電話しとくわ。
頼むぞほんと。
古賀さんと付き合ってるってマジ？
マジだな。
マジか。
実はまだお試し期間って感じだけど。
だったらやっぱ昨日のうちに言っとけばよかったな。古賀さんだけどさ。
なんだよ。
少ない噂が流れてる。エコだとかビッチだとか。
That's why he was interested.
俺も部活のグループメッセージで。
Wait, no, he started it because he's
コ
jealous.
スケ先輩のこと聞いたよな。
He's starting rumors about her?
もしあの時って考え
ないけどあずさ川らしくはないかもね。
本当にやり直したいと思ってるわけじゃない。考えなくて済むようにしたいだけだよ。
あずさ川らしいね。
あのさ双葉、運動部で鍛えてる上に自分より体のでかいやつに勝てる方法ってあると思うか？
そうね。人間は猿じゃないんだから頭を使えば勝てるんじゃない？
新規臭い顔するな。
先輩。
最近の1年はお盛んだな。は？今笑ったよな。
まだ
Sakuta.
笑ってますけど、何か？
ふざけてんのか？
いえ、バカにしてるだけです。
Using her brain.
ああ？
いや
お前卑怯だろ。
あんただろ。
Oh!
ダッサ。
誰がだよ。
顔洗った方がいいですよ。うんこ踏んだんで。
he's telling the truth.
ふざけんな。
ふざけてるのはそっちでしょ。自分が見せ物にされるのが嫌ならアホなことするなよ。生き方がダサすぎる。
もういい。
いや、これだけは言わせてもらう。冗談じゃない。僕は童貞だ。
先輩やりすぎ。
知るか。
Oh, laughing together as they run away. The way he ended it with embarrassing himself, quote unquote.
一人だけ必要としてくれたら的なやつ。大事にされてる感じだった。
キはそうする約束だから。
恋人にはそこまでしないよ。
僕は完璧主義だから。
何それ。レナちゃんから。前澤先輩には幻滅だって。
うんこがついたくらいで冷めるなら、その程度の憧れだったってことか。
And it's better in general she wasn't interested in
一
him.
つ言っておきたいんだけど。
トイレか？
違う。私、したことないから。
何を？
私、処女だからね。
Was she worried that he believed the rumors?
僕があんな噂を信じてると思ったか。
信じてたら嫌だなって。
小がって彼氏いたことあるんじゃなかったっけ？
みんな中学の時にいたって言うから。私、先輩にどうやって
嘘が終わったら友達になってくれ。嫌ならいいぞ。
しょうがないから親友になってあげる。
I love her shirt. Hmm.
Oh, I didn't want it to be over, but now I'm like, should I be glad it's over at that ending?
With what that could be alluding to.
To what my Sakura Jima was saying earlier in the episode. Okay, that was Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, episode 5. Right off the bat, I am having trouble trying to act like everything at the end of the episode isn't just applicable to Mai Sakurajima saying, I hope pretend doesn't turn into serious.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to forget with the last couple seconds of what was a very lovely kind of even ending to an episode, that those last couple seconds still exist, and undeniably so. I worry what they are saying for what the future that is to come is. What is the future that is to come?
You know what? I'm not that worried. I think that maybe feeling wise coming out of the episode, the worry I feel is more about like a trope or a scenario of what might come based off of the situation that's been laid out in front of me, and not necessarily what I expect to come from the series. And I think what might happen because of the end of this episode might help Koga become the person that she should be at this point in her life.
Okay. I see. My worry comes from believing that there could be more difficulties ahead. Like, this isn't a solved case of adolescent syndrome. When we are talking to Futaba, the idea is brought up that she is not aware herself, Koga is not aware herself, that she was searching for a convenient future to occur. And if she really was aware of this, then she truly would be a demon. She is now aware of what had transpired, and that it was her adolescent syndrome if she chooses to believe in that. And what if she then, in the future, this is just a hypothetical, chooses to take advantage of the fact that she could possibly redo things until she gets the ideal future? We are watching a video of Mai Sakurajima, and in this episode, Sakuta has even said the next time he gets to ask her out again, the next time, that there is this future between Mai and Sakuta that is going to exist, and at the moment it does not seem like Koga would want that to transpire. And so I believe that we are not out of the woods yet, especially if she is. The pretend feelings are possibly becoming serious by what is highlighted in the last couple seconds of the episode.
If that is the route that it goes, I mean, I can see it with the idea of the language satisfied with the current condition, right? Satisfied with the current condition doesn't necessarily speak for the future, the solution, like you're
satisfied now. This was convenient now. That doesn't mean it's always going to be the case. So we have to build her into a person who's willing to accept that things aren't always going to be convenient or satisfactory, and that's okay.
I want to know what the particulars are going to be, right? And the specifics, because how it plays out, I think, is going to be incredibly important to what the solution will be, and incredibly important to how you would handle a solution like that happening. I think that Koga had a lot of great moments as a character this episode that might go into that, but also explains why she's in the position that she is in the first place.
I would like to think at the moment that she won't try to have things go her way, and she won't try to meddle with the future in order to ensure that she can have this guy that she might be interested in. Because yes, I'm still speculating that she's watching that video at the end of the episode due to budding feelings that she has for Sakuta. And I see the actions that he does, especially in this episode, and I'm like, of course, there's the possibility there that she could be developing feelings. I mean, the safety that he brings to the table of a relationship, a friendship, even an acquaintance dynamic, the safety and security and reassurance he brings to the table in a world where all of these young people feel so vulnerable, you'd want to stay close to that. And you didn't want to ensure that you could stay close to that.
It's something almost like alien or foreign within the setting that you are in, when everybody holds something superficial as extremely high and important as they do, yet you have fucking Sakuta coming in who is basically dead because he doesn't have a smartphone. And the idea that he shows up and is able to do. I love Futaba so much, and I'm sure we're going to talk about her like in this discussion. But the idea of using your head, using your brain in the way that he does to not only diffuse a situation, but have so many lasting repercussions from just one interaction. What you're able to do to not just one person, but the entire environment and ecosystem that, you know, Koga herself does fall prey to is incredibly enticing and alluring to anybody within that situation.
He puts himself on the line completely. Like, he's not about, I'm gonna throw dirt in your face and not throw dirt in mine. Like, no, your pants are falling down, my pants are falling down too. Like, there's an equal exchange thing happening. I am not trying to paint you as inferior. I'm trying to highlight what it is that's not cool that you're doing, but I'm not going to try to rub it in your face that you're not cool, so much so that you leave here and bad things could happen to you. You might feel really awful about yourself, and that might have longevity.
There's so much strength in that position. Like, okay, great, we're both not cool and you're pretending to be cool and everybody can see it. Who the fuck are they gonna laugh at? The person who's owning up to the fact that they aren't cool and that they're a virgin? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm paraphrasing here and making it into a different argument, but I love Sakuta so much this episode, and I love the type of person he is able to see himself as with confidence within the situation that he's in. And it's so hard not to mention Shoko. It's so hard not to, again, be curious about what Shoko did within Sakuta's life that influenced him to be the individual that he is able to be in this episode too. Because having that disposition and having that confidence and comfortability within yourself, for a lot of people, is not easy to come across or find or be able to enact when it matters the most. And I think that partly the reason that we see it from Sakuta this episode is because all the circumstances that led him there with the specific moments, right? Obviously, we started with the parallels from Kaede and Koga, but with everything Kaede said this episode, with everything she did, and with how Sakuta's vision of her almost proved to be true in the conversation that he set up with her, it all fell in line.
Mm-hmm. I obviously you bring up Shoko, and I have to agree with you that when you watch this show, and as we begin to watch this show, once Shoko's mentioned, every little thing that Sakuta does, I begin to think more and more. I don't even have to think more and more about what her impact for this character was, because I see it on full display. With him in this episode talking about actions that he could do to another, his impact on someone else, and how he'd be haunted by it unless he felt like they were maybe a little bit deserving of his actions. And I think about...
It'd be harder for me if he was a good person.
It would be harder for me if he was a good person, or if he was like totally flawless and an amazing guy, because that's hard on like a couple levels. You don't want to hurt him because you think he might have feelings for this girl, and you also might feel bad because Koga could be missing out on a really great guy because of the fact that she's afraid of her friends. Yeah, you'd be worried for a couple different aspects, but it brings me to something I want to talk about, which is Yosuke, which I'm going to use that name because that's what Kunimi called him. I want to talk about, this might be me reaching, but I feel like when Koga and Sakuta are leaving the interaction at the end of the episode, we bring up the idea that Koga, amongst friends, lied about having a boyfriend in middle school, and doesn't everyone kind of float their image in that way with little white lies, or even like maybe some more harmful lies? And it made me think more about this character, Yosuke. How much should I believe of what he says to his friends or the guys on the basketball team, like about his girlfriend from another school? How much should I actually believe? With Koga as pretending out of insecurity of being left out from her friend group by being the only one that's not talking about a previous relationship, can't I give him the possible same little sliver of grace that what he's doing is coming from a place of insecurity and it's all lies?
I don't think it's giving him grace. I think it's trying to be realistic within the setting and the atmosphere. Like everybody within this circumstance, every high schooler within this bit, for the most part, would be exaggeratory about something in their life that would make them seem cooler to a fucked up group of people who would deem that being cool, or in whatever regard I think you're referencing. But I think that it's interesting because when you throw around a term like grace too, grace would be given to those who are offering that piece of information up about themselves
Yeah.
when they don't have to, like Koga. Like, her coming out here and, like, going into the details to Sakuta wasn't necessary from her end, other than just being the person that she truly is.
It's not the right word.
Mhm.
What I'm trying to say is I'm trying to give him the time of day, I
Yeah.
guess, to think that there might be more here other than he's just a guy that treats his girlfriends awful and then spreads rumors about other people, that it's coming from trying to understand the character and give him that time to try to understand him, because bullies often, it comes from a place of insecurity, and the actions that he does in this episode, while deplorable and awful, and I'm glad of what transpires with Sakuta transpires, it could be coming from a place of a guy who is trying to keep up the images. It's those that participate in this atmosphere and are the atmosphere, and those that are outside of it. And those that are inside of it and trying to participate are going through all of these hoops. Whether they're lying, whether they're saying awful things, they're dressing a certain way, they're doing makeup, they're jumping through all of these hoops to maintain this very kind of fragile presence in their world. And I just wanted to give myself a second to remind myself that there could be reasons behind what he's doing, even if what he's doing is bad and you're not trying to, like, justify what he's doing. Like, that's not what this is about. Justifying, like, oh, it's excusable that he did this because he might be insecure.
There's world that he was bullied in middle school, or he just was a nobody in middle school or elementary school, and when he, you know, is older, he wants to start fresh and be somebody he never was before. So he's going to work out and train to make sure he can play basketball at top tier, and with that comes popularity, and with popularity comes
popular,
oh, you're in the moment, you're just talking with guys, they might have suggested it, right? In the same situation, you're accusing Koga of going around sleeping with everyone. What if you're in a
People
situation
think
where you have
probably
a girlfriend for the first time and you're like, oh, I'm sure you're really doing stuff every day, and he's just like, yeah, of course I am. Like, that could...
If he's this popular guy who
Yeah.
obviously is very well liked, the girls in the school think he's really attractive, he doesn't want to seem uncool, and so he's gonna say things probably that kind of align with this idea that he views as cool and the rest of the people he's talking to view as cool. And so we could have a character who might have actually genuinely liked Koga. Obviously what he does after, he didn't love her, because you wouldn't do this to someone that you genuinely cared about. But he could have really actually had a crush on her. Like, he noticed she was at his games. He might have really genuinely thought she liked him back.
They ended up coming from the same place, and they both changed their looks and personalities so much, you know, because both of their dads got new... No, I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah, so I just wanted to talk about him a little bit more, because I felt like it would be very easy to leave this discussion or leave this episode without actually trying to maybe understand him at all, or understand that there could be complexities to those that participate and those that don't. Like, he could totally just be a bully and actually enjoy the fact that he says all these things, or he could mean what he says. But there's also the case where what he's saying could be coming from a place of insecurity and he doesn't necessarily mean it, and somewhere down the line he's going to completely regret that he ever did these actions that transpire in this episode. And he's going to wish he was as cool as Sakuta is.
Well, in terms of, like, just wrapping up talking about him, I guess, like, at the end of the episode, if you don't want to attract attention, don't do stupid stuff. Like, I absolutely love you, Sakuta.
Yeah.
And, like, I love his approach to this, right? Because everything is brain in this matter. And I didn't know if we were going to see that interaction this episode after the Futsuba conversation. I didn't know if we were going to see that interaction at all. But the choice in starting it the way that he does, the choice in being so physical with his movements to really, like, get the atmosphere of, okay, we're gonna fight, let this guy think that, oh shit, it's gonna be an honest fight, are you fucking kidding me, I'm an athlete here, I'm going to wipe the floor with you, just to kick him in his shin, and then so fucking superficial enough of Sakuta to stick his foot in his face just to say that he stepped in poop yesterday, and immediately, like, he's like rubbing his head, smelling his hand. It's like, oh shit. And
oh shit, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's God. I just love how he handled the situation. I think that, interestingly enough, Sakuta's interactions with the more empathetic interactions are typically the ones that mean the most to me so far within this series. But the way that he approached this was so fulfilling, and that I just loved it. And I think that part of it is because of how he ended it, the execution of it, the follow through of going full circle of the idea of like who's laughing at themselves here and who's taking themselves seriously.
The execution of it. I feel like this interaction, obviously we're going to be leaving this topic very, very soon. Don't you worry. The execution of this kind of, a conversation, a fight, I don't know what you necessarily call it, but the execution is very similar to how he's able to handle sass and how he's able to communicate with banter. Like, he's able to be cheeky and have banter and have sass and have charm without it coming off completely unlikable, because I feel like he's like really quick with it. I feel like in his head he's really thinking, and I feel like his heart has a lot of care in it, and I feel like what we're getting with this fight or conversation is just what he's already shown us, but in a different format, because obviously we don't normally see him in a fight. We see cheeky back and forth responses with Mai, obviously typically for the last couple episodes.
Do you think that if you approach conversations and people like somewhat similar to Sakuta, and the idea of, you know, not necessarily like quickness and banter, what you're referring to, but the idea that if you're able to read somebody else as extraordinarily superficial and nothing too deep in them, you just walk past them potentially because you know that your honest effort might not be reciprocated, and if it isn't, then why not? And if it is, then you can see the nuance in what Sakuta chooses, or somebody like Sakuta would choose to use in their language. Like, Sakuta could say the same thing to 5 different people, or somebody like him could say the same thing to 5 different people, but only one of them could get that he's being cheeky, or could see that he's prodding at you, or see like the intention and thought, thinking about what you're going to say before you say it, and thinking about what somebody said to you in the context of how you received it, as opposed to just face value one-dimensional. I think that it's almost like a barrier to entry in terms of like closeness of conversation or intimacy. And once you're able to surpass this fucking one-dimensional like small talk chit chat, and 2 people are both on the same page about that, that's when the differences really show themselves. That's when the levels of personality and quickness, and truthfully just personality and all the quirks about you and like emotions about you really just start hitting. I don't know, it's interesting.
There's a thoughtfulness to it. It's almost like you're testing other people that you're having a conversation with, because I see that
without trying
you're not trying to test people, but you're putting what you're putting forward is who you are and how you like to speak, and you like to be thoughtful, and you like to have some fun in your conversations and be playful while also being thoughtful. And you're not like trying to test like, oh, I only want the people that like get it to hang around. You're putting it out there, and I'm sure he probably hopes that most people would respond in a way where they're reciprocating this, and that they are able to meet him with, I'm confident in who I am and I like who I am, and so I'm going to speak back and forth with you in this manner. So it's not particularly a test, but I would say he gives the same kind of time and attention in how he presents himself to everyone the same. And I think that speaks a lot on how he feels about himself, as well as it can speak on how he views people as a whole. When we have that idea of like, oh, if it was an ugly girl, he wouldn't have gone out of his way like he is for Koga. And we can ask ourselves as the audience members here, do we really believe that? Because Koga didn't necessarily believe that. I think he gives, from what I've seen, every character so far in the show, he's just presented himself as who he is, who he's become.
And like I probably didn't do the best job in phrasing it, but like if he walks past somebody and they walk past him, I don't ever look at Sakuta as somebody who's like dismissing them or looking down necessarily. Like, it's just like, okay, next step. Like, the whole point of what I'm saying is what he says. And if there's one person who needs you, like, that is enough. And because of that, there's a journey that you have to go through to get to that point of view. Mm-hmm. And that journey is, again, every fucking thing that I say leads back to Shoko. Everything. Every thought that I have ends up leading back to Shoko. And I have to just shut up because if I just keep talking about things off of the top of my head, it's gonna lead back to Shoko.
Everything leads back to Shoko. Okay, let's pick a new topic then.
I am so happy that Mai Sakurajima gave that dress to Kaide. Old outfit from a fashion magazine, or not old, just fashion magazine outfit given to Kaide. It was so sweet, and I loved Kaide being like, I wasn't trying to like act like I was a ninja. Good, okay, well, like just we're like speed running it, but the interaction was so sweet. You brought it up during the reaction of it, of her looking to Sakuta for reaffirmment, and her just it like
it's sweet, but it hurts. It's sweet, but it feels like
what got her to this place.
Eventually a behavior like this and a dynamic like this and a relationship like this, what you could fear is that it would grow into an enablement, that she never needs to leave the house because her brother is such a good friend to her and he's so safe and the house is safe and everything at home is safe and comfortable and happy and she's not lonely. Like, while that feels good right now, I think when we talk about it points in time in this episode, obviously with paralleling with Koga, but also with conversations with Futaba about like, if you could go back and redo something. I mean, with Kaide, when she looks to her brother for what I see is reassurance about this girl that's in front of her in her brother's room that she's not really interacted with, who's handing her a dress, and she has the trauma that she's dealt with, the fears that she probably still holds. It's just why she's not really leaving the house and she's not going to school. She looks to him and I see that moment. I'm like, oh, that's sweet. But then it also really scares me. And I'm like, this needs to still be worked at and dealt with because she's not healed. She's safe right now, but it's like we've band-aided the situation for now, but she still needs like stitches.
It's like, but it also is just another reason that Mai Sakurajima is the best character ever, because somebody in Mai Sakurajima's place doesn't necessarily or wouldn't ever necessarily overextend or extend and be as thoughtful as she is being in this instance. Like, it could be coming off as so much comfort from Sakuta to Kaide and the reassurance that, oh, I would never have to leave home. But having Mai Sakurajima have this thought about her and wanting to hopefully spur some desire in her to leave the house is extraordinary.
I like that you called it like overextending, because I think when I start to think about them as separate people, Mai and Sakuta, I begin to see like, if this is a romance anime, or that's one of the genres it fits in, these are two people that I feel like are highly qualified, at least at the moment from what I've seen, to be in a relationship together. Like, they are both in places in their life that I feel like are ready for each other or just what the other needed at the time, and are going to continue to be that for each other through all of the challenges they might come across, like Koga and like Kaide and any other friends that might come along with any of their own issues.
So I had a couple more things. I had a few more things, but definitely some favorites over others, or maybe more importance that I want to definitely get to. I found it so fucking cool what Sakuta's approach of the conversation with Koga was about how she felt about her current self.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like, the idea of, oh, well, yeah, okay, you've changed. We're talking about your accent. How here's an old picture of you. But do you not like who you are now? No matter who you were, how you look now is you. The idea of thinking that it's like, just because you have changed and seen these other things and put effort into changing as a person, even if you view it as you changing to fit into a stereotype, to fit into a friend group, you have put the work in and you are proud of the work that you did. You shouldn't diminish that. You shouldn't be immature in your approach of thinking about, oh, well, I've just changed, so it's inherently bad. No, it's complexities. It's like, you can be proud of the you that you are going to become, even if it isn't you yet, but you should still be proud in the you that you currently are, because it's two steps forward from how you used to be. Even if there comes a decision or there comes a loss of friendship for Koga, I still feel like the idea that she put in this effort for herself to make herself happy, that doesn't delegitimize that at all in the slightest.
When he's walking away from her in this moment, in this conversation, she uses the word frustrating to describe the kind of logic he's throwing back at her. And I could view what he's highlighting about what she's saying as frustrating. You like who you are now, and yet you're saying that this isn't who you are. As if you think that you should be. You don't want to be ashamed of who you are right now, but you think that you should be deeply, internally ashamed by the way that you're currently living and the shunning of who you were previously. It's very, you can like the change, but be frustrated about the reason that led you down the path to change. You can like how your makeup looks and how your new hairstyle is and the way that you dress, and you could like the way that you're presenting yourself to the world, and you can also dislike what led you down the path to that change initially. And so I find that it's cute how frustrating it is to view her internal mindset at the moment, because it is just as simple as what Sakuta's saying, which is like, you like who you are right now. You can appreciate who you were before you made these changes. And you can also like who you are right now without adding that extra shame element to it, or that extra like reminders internally all the time into other people that this isn't who you were. All in that grasp to figure out who you actually are. But like, give it some time. Like, you don't actually know who you're gonna be yet.
Yeah.
You're on your way there.
Yeah, and like the idea about being frustrated too, because I feel like you talked me into this. Oh my God, Sakuta, you're extraordinary. It immediately throws me back to the conversation that he's having with Mai Sakurajima about why she is where she is, how her feelings are where they are because of what led her to the fucked up situation that she ended up being. Sakuta didn't come here empty-handed. He didn't come here without thinking about it. He is put effort and time into thinking about it. And I think it's funny when you can phrase it as frustration, because that's what it is, of course. But at the same time, that's the point of it. That's the point of it. And for Sakuta to go out of his way like this is, I love him so much.
Metaphorically, in this imaginary world, it doesn't actually exist. This guy is walking around with chocolates, an umbrella, a first aid kit, literally anything that you could possibly need, just with his words and his actions and his presence. Like, he's not just words, and I feel like we've talked a lot about what his words are, but his presence. Like, he's there. She's like, you didn't have to do this for me and all the crazy things I've asked of you. You didn't have to do this, and yet you're here on a date with me, and you're not just on your phone or ignoring me. You're having a genuine time. You're present with me. We're talking. That's an extra level of like fake dating. Like, you didn't have to do any of that.
Sakuta's level of comprehension and trying to earnestly understand what the other person's feelings have led them to do is extraordinarily refreshing. It is it's motivational in a sense.
I am also refreshed. Obviously, Mai hasn't been like a sole focus of this episode or the last episode, but I'm honestly incredibly refreshed by her actions as well, in terms of how she's handling Sakuta and what he's currently dealing with Koga, what he's going through. The fact that they're able to just have a conversation, and his honesty is he's forthcoming with what's happening, and she's able to be like, while I don't love the idea that you'd be in a fake relationship, and I do view that things pretending could turn serious, she still completely allows him to have reins of his own life. There's not this crazy amount of jealousy or toxicity that comes out in her actions. I think it's refreshing to see her be able to handle things that are uncomfortable to her, or that she might not love, with such just like her 2 feet down on the floor. Like, she is present, and she's like, yeah, I don't like that, but like, she's still trying to hold on to who she is and who she wants to be, and how she feels about this guy, and how she views him and who he is, and his honesty that he's always had toward her. And I think it's refreshing that she is not pitching fits and being incredibly jealous and making things maybe difficult for him to try to be a good person, or give him any sense of doubt you know, that's why they could have a
Yeah.
relationship. I'm sorry, like, I'm having trouble putting my words together, but it'd be hard for them to go forward with a relationship. This guy who's obviously going to continuously try to help other people, if you're going to be consistently frustrated or jealous or uncomfortable with his actions.
Yeah.
You can't change who he is, and she likes who he is.
Even though it's small, my Sakura Ojima's presence this episode is anything but, right? The idea of, like, when you're so honest, it's not worth toying with you, or I can't complain if you bring up the bit about your little sister. Like, everything in exchange, her saying, when you're so honest, it's not fun toying with you, is being honest. Like, it is being completely what Sakuto would need or feel like he needs in the situation, even if he doesn't.
Yeah, that's why I'm not used to romance anime or like couples in media being so kind of ready for each other, if that makes sense. Like, normally there's some fumbles and some issues, at least immediately upon communication, especially, and honesty. Like, normally you don't have what we have these characters have in their arsenal right away. Like, that's something that's built over time, and you watch them build that. And so whatever kind of issues they might have in the future, because every relationship or a future relationship is gonna have issues somewhere down the line, whatever issues they face, they're going to be incredibly equipped to deal with them. And while those issues might pose difficult, they're still going to be equipped with so much foundation, both as separate people and as together, because they've already dealt with a lot as they've immediately known each other, that I feel like I'm seeing something in a couple dynamic that I don't normally see, especially right away in a story, at the beginning of a story.
Definitely. All right. I'm going to a little bit earlier in the episode when they're at the aquarium.
Okay.
Koga, obviously, when she's engrossed in the conversation about he's fine with everyone laughing at him, just like you, Senpai, and then she sees her own reflection and quickly looks away. Okay. That's easy to take as it is. We can get the bare minimum from that, and it's still worth it. And I love the idea of her earnestly and honestly gazing at something to see herself and then immediately react to that, to question if that genuine nature should be validated with legitimacy at that point. I'm gonna go crazy though.
Okay.
Not necessarily in a good way, but during that entire interaction, I was like so interested in what the text on screen was being said about the penguins. And we as Koga identify ourselves as just just a penguin who would follow the others, right? But that wasn't what the language on the screen was telling me about the other penguins, right? So we have Koga following the other penguins. Why? Just to follow them, right? Because she isn't the leader and she's a follower. However, the instructor was like, okay, we're going to try to get this one penguin to dive because that's what he does. Okay, that's not going to work. We're going to try the other ones. But you know what? Actually, some of the penguins get so engrossed in eating and food that they slip and fall. It's not like necessarily because they're following the other penguins, but their attention is diverted and they're wrapped up on things that aren't necessarily the step in front of them. And I think that
instant gratification. They're so wrapped up in the instant, in the now.
As opposed to following the penguin in front of you, you are wrapped up in other things, as you put it, right? And having that sequence of where Koga puts herself and then the penguins slipping and falling because they're focused on food, and then trying to insert the instance with Yoneyama and the phone strap, like, and how far outwardly she expresses herself and goes without any care for herself. It's like the idea of her jumping forward and grabbing that phone strap regardless of the repercussions of the water rushing towards her potentially getting sick. But it speaks so much of the genuine nature that is her that it would put me on the opposite side of the aisle as the one that would be so distracted with food that she would fall and slip, you know? So I went a little bit off base, but it stood out to me when watching. And I guess while we're here, another thing that stood out to me that I don't think is true and or happened, was when Sakuta and Futsuba are hanging out and they're talking and it's a great conversation. When I saw the girl behind them walking with her phone out, I was like, is this one of Koga's friend group like texting right now? And then like inevitably we see that like people were shit talking in the text chain and the basketball chain. But I was like, oh God, like, is this goes to show how like 24/7 while other people are having real conversations, Koga's life is like continuously going down this path of friends texting where she needs to see it all the time.
It's just like honest representation, if nothing else, that people are very attached to their phones even when walking. Even when maybe they see this girl, she's approaching steps right now. This is the penguin situation. She's gonna slip and fall because she's focused on the food in front of her, which is her phone.
And why don't they show it to us? Cowards, because she did fall.
Didn't want to animate this poor high school student falling down the steps.
No, but yeah, I don't know. There was a lot this episode that really stood out to me. Like, one of my favorite phrases that in out of context, I guess sounds insane, but excessively self-conscious is a great way to characterize Koga. Mm-hmm. Like, the idea of her saying that one day without her phone, or one day without being at school, is life-threatening. The idea of self-image that you must have in a very tragic way to see that as life-threatening is the complete opposition of what Sakuta is being able to show as himself and how comfortable he is to be laughed at.
How did you feel about taking like sick days at school? Like think like middle school or high school, either one of them. Like, how did you feel about days where you weren't at school and then the day that you returned to school?
Most of the time, I wasn't allowed to miss school because my parents were medicine, so
Your parents were more strict with it. My parents were like, "Oh, your tummy hurts? Don't go to school.
3 Tylenol, you'll be fine. You'll come back home and the fever starts up again. We'll take care of it," type shit. Mm. That being said, on the days that I did get to stay home, I loved it with all of my heart. I did not have a good time in school in any of the years of school.
In high school, I loved it. Because I wasn't having a good time, and there was a lot of really awful things happening to me during my high school years, mm-hmm. that I felt a lot better just being home. Mm-hmm. So I didn't worry about things like this. But middle school, I loved middle school, but I had like a friend group, you know, and I would feel so much so like I missed out on the world. Like, not that it was world-ending, life-threatening, like my friends weren't going to be friends with me anymore because I missed out on so much, but I genuinely felt like the amount of information I had missed out on was like a textbook's length amount of information. Because we were chatting nonstop during school, things were happening, people would say things oh my God, you like this guy? I didn't know that. Oh, you weren't here yesterday when so-and-so said that they liked so-and-so. Like, the amount of stuff that I'd be scared that I would miss out on, and then I, in fact, did feel like I missed out on, even though it was insignificant.
There were definitely years that stand out are, like, 4th to 6th grade. I'm trying to think of what ages that would be for us. For us, like, okay. 13 to 10, 13 to 9, 10 right?
To 13.
Yeah, that's like
a smaller number and a move bigger.
That's more applicable to us, right?
Yeah.
Grade 1, never mind. Okay, so like within those years, all of that, what you're describing was definitely going on around me and like within the class, but I never knew any of it. There was a small group of girls, and I want to say there was like 4 of them or 3 of them. And then, as opposed to, like, the 50 other kids in the grade, and then me and one of my friends. And, like, within that atmosphere, there was this very tiny, like, we hate each other and we don't talk to each other type of, like, dynamic or community. But that's as close as I ever got to actually being in it. And I never wanted to. I was much more excited to go home and play, like, Call of Duty online and try to make friends online.
I saw stuff like that. Like, stuff we're seeing what these people are going through in this show in terms of the friend group dynamics and in terms of the intensity, I would say. Toxicity, I'll use that word again. I didn't see that in middle school with the people I was around because, like, we were just goofing off. Like, at that time, me and my friends, we weren't worried about boys or how we appeared. We were wearing silly t-shirts with like long plaid shorts that looked absolutely awful and like side ponytails. You know, we were just living our best lives and having fun. And then once high school, and we were seeing other people around us act in that way. There was kind of, oh, we don't like you, or maybe more of like a bully actions, or just more drama. And we would look at that and we'd be like, not, oh my god, I can't believe they're acting like that. And then once you got to high school, that's when things changed. I mean, that's when it changed for me. High school.
Fun.
Great time, awful time, great time.
Yeah.
Which actually makes me think of something that Koga said in similar situation to what we're talking about, is when she was in the nurse's office. Fun fact, I spent most of my high school years in the nurse's office. That wasn't what I was going to say here. But her dialogue there in the nurse's office, one of the things that she says, other than the idea of like fear of missing out, is she doesn't need everyone to like love her, like her. She's just really, she doesn't want them to hate her. And I really related to that. But like, part of me also wants everyone to like me. I don't want them to hate me, but I definitely want everyone to like me.
Well, I guess one of my last things is the conversation that we had about Kunimi with Futsuba, the idea that if he was going to notice, he would have noticed by now about, you know, her feelings.
What do you think about the fact that he's going to be talking to Kamisato, or has maybe previously talked to Kamisato before about Sakuta?
I would be interested to see if Kamisato brings it all the way around to Futsuba or not, because I don't know her character enough to know if it will get that far or if it would be as one-dimensional as the conversation is made out to be. Because there's only two people that are subject within that conversation, and, you know, the Futsuba interaction wouldn't be there from Kunimi's end, especially in that phone call, and he'd be the one calling, right?
I was a little bit nervous, but Kamisato didn't make me nervous until she brought up Futaba. Until she was like, what's that dynamic? What's that relationship?
I love that Sakuta was like, ask him.
Yeah. Because he's not going to lie to you. And and Kamisato knows, I'm sure. I would think that she knows that Kunimi doesn't seem like a liar type.
Don't you want his interpretation of it over hers? I mean, think about Mai Sakurajima, about what she said about, you know, her issue. It doesn't seem like at all it's about Sakuta's side of things, because she already knows without having verbal reassurance this episode. Well, she kind of does in the beginning. It was great. But just she knows from Sakuta's language and who he is as a person. And I would love to, you know, have that interaction go through with Kunimi and it being shouted from the rooftops.
Kamisato and Mai are so different.
Yeah.
They're very different. Kamisato just really cares about her presence in this school. And though even the first years have a nice little nickname for Sakuta about something like he's kind of acceptable now guy is his nickname, it seems like that hasn't extended out of the first years necessarily. And she knows she can't tell her boyfriend, hey, don't be friends with this guy, because we've already been introduced to the type of guy her boyfriend is, and he'd probably have issue with her if she were to say something like that. But I don't think their relationship seems like it either needs to go through some major changes soon, or it's not gonna last with how she's acting.
It depends. I think it depends.
It depends.
Yeah, on their communication. I don't think it needs to go through a drastic change, but I guess we'll see it play out. I mean, if
she's consistently going up to and now possibly going to go up to or question his other friend.
Yeah.
And threaten them to stay away from him, I feel like there's more than just a nightly talk that needs to happen here. Like, if she can't just like vibe, then maybe they need to break up.
All right, my actual last thing for now is I love how often Sakuta is shirtless. I love how often
he's always in his underwear.
We're reminded of his scar, of the adolescent syndrome. And I think that it's really important, and I think that it's intentional, and I think that obviously we have the jokes around it, but I love that being consistent.
You know what you just made me think of? So
Sakuta shirtless?
I mean, yes, definitely that is what you made me think of yes, because that's what you said. But it makes me question myself a little bit in terms of, am I noticing any sort of significance to that other than we're trying to kind of continuously remind the viewer of the fact of what he's been through? This is a kind of a scar that says a lot. It says a lot about who he is and the guy that we've been seeing and how he acts and how he treats people. It kind of says all of that. And so are we just showing the scar and having him be shirtless in these scenes just for the sake of kind of reminding us of that foundation that he stands on? Or is there purpose in the scenes themselves, or what dialogue is on the screen, who we're interacting with, or who we're thinking about or talking about? It makes me question, like, want to almost go back and, like, if I were to rewatch this, would I pay attention to this a little bit more to see if there's anything else in the writing that's going on? Because sometimes writers will, like, there is a reason why the curtains are yellow. Mm-hmm. And you might not think that there's a reason that the curtains are yellow before, you know, rewatching it. And then when you rewatch it, you might be like, oh, dang, the curtains are yellow. And that's just some extra sprinkles that the person that wrote this put on top.
It could be 1,000 different things, or it could be nothing. It could be nothing,
Mm-hmm.
or it could be every time that we see it this episode, it happens with an interaction with Mai Sakurajima, who's able to see a raw, scarred side thanks to Sakuta letting her in. But it could also be, it could be a billion things. Like, it could, depending on what happens, it could be a billion things, you know? I'm with you, though. All right, do you have anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All right, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We hope to see you next time.